May gabi sa tanan. Magandang gabi po sa lahat ng nanonood dito. Welcome to the Amateur Bandit. It's very, very special edition. We are here live in Dumaguete City. I'm with the TAPS Coalition lead convener of Cebu, Atty. Cabales, and my Bisdak edition partner, June Abines, and of course, our very, very special guest, Atty. Vic Rodriguez. We are going to talk about what he did here in Dumaguete kanina. And this is our second interview with him one-on-one. The first one was held in Cebu. Now we are here in Dumaguete City, and we have to thank Miss Kitty of Bellas Restobar, where we are right now, for the very warm reception, and as well as the Negrense, who apparently love a Tagalog-speaking candidate in Atty. Vic Rodriguez. Anyways, June and Irene here, we actually traveled to Dumaguete from Cebu to really attend this, once in a lifetime, so to speak, event, wherein an independent candidate such as Atty. Vic is mounting a very tough senatorial and national campaign as an independent without the machinery afforded to traditional politicians and everything. So without going any much further, how's our viewership naman? Nakapag-share na ba kayo? How's our audio? At okay na ba? Pa-comment naman dyan. Pa-comment naman dyan. Okay na. Okay na daw. Alright, okay. Diyan, may gabi, no? Good evening. Atty. Cabales, good evening. Atty. Vic, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, June, at magandang gabi sa lahat ng nakasubaybay dito sa Pilipinas. At magandang araw sa lahat ng Pilipino sa nang kumpani kayo ng mundo.
Atty.
Good evening, may gabi and magandang gabi sa lahat ng nanonood. This is my first time actually being in Facebook Live. I'm more used to taped episodes.
So yes, Joe.
Mayang gabi, magandang gabi po sa lahat. So we've been out for a month for live broadcast, and now we're very happy to be back with, of course, no less than Atty. Vic, yung natin independent candidate for senator. I'm happy to be here in Dumaguete. The last time we have Atty. Vic was in Cebu,
Yes.
and I can really say that Atty. Vic is giving special attention to the Cebuanos and the Visayas. So I'm very happy to have him giving attention to the Visayas population, Visayas voters, because for a long time, Visayans are always left most of the time, and candidates will only see Visayans as when there's election.
Right.
But for the last many years, I see Atty. Vic really visiting Cebu and Visayas, and of course Mindanao. So I'm happy to be here and glad to have we met here in Dumaguete.
Thank you.
Yeah, and being the gentleman that we are, June and I, let's give our only rose among the thorn the honor of throwing the very first question to Atty. Vic Rodriguez.
I'm told that no holds barred. Atty. Vic.
As always, as always.
As always, no holds barred. Let's just get the small talk out of the way. Very, very curious po. What's your skincare routine?
What's your skincare routine? Oh my
Let's
goodness.
get the small talk out.
Skincare routine. Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Because we've been seeing he is so fresh.
Yeah.
Haggard na namin. But he's still so fresh.
I
Peace
think
of mind.
yun ang ultimate. When one is enjoying that degree of peace of mind,
Right.
no amount of stressful activity or no amount of stress can slow you down or can upset your system.
Wow.
Can I get the second question too?
See, go ahead. Go ahead. But before you do that, Attorney Vic is rewriting the meaning of without breaking a sweat. Because I haven't seen him break any sweat. No matter the intensity of the speech, the intensity of the interview, he doesn't break a sweat. Probably because he's just telling the truth and very impassioned on his proposition. Anyway, go ahead. Yes.
When was the last time your peace of mind was bothered, and what did you do to get out of that stressful situation?
I do not let any stressful situation or toxic person get in the way of me enjoying my peace of mind.
Right.
Alam mo ninyo mga kababayan, kapag wala kang inulokong kababayan mo, pag wala kang inulokong Pilipino, I don't think any unfounded, any baseless criticism or intrigue or character assassination be able to affect you at all.
Right. I agree. No? It's also a very rare gift, no, to be as stoic as Atty. Vic, no? Considering the amount of pressure and the amount of betrayal that he has experienced in all his life. No? But first and foremost, I would like to address yung ano ni June kanina, because we were here and there were probably around 300 to 400 people who attended and were so enthusiastic in their reception, no, of your candidacy and of you as a person, as a candidate. What's your feeling? Ano ba yung feeling mo nung nakita mo yung gaano karaming tao yung nandito at pinagkaguluhan ka na after the event? Seeing, people of the cross. Again, I'd like to echo June. Na you've been to Cebu multiple times. I've interviewed you in Cebu once, and now we're in Dumaguete. What makes the Visayan people, the Visayan speaking audience, earn that special place in your heart? Yes.
Well, not just the Visayan-speaking regions, but I think I am duty-bound. Now that I am officially and formally an applicant as your senator for 2025, I am duty-bound to go around the country and articulate all the real issues that are besetting our nation today. Hindi yung mga investigation na ginagawa sa Kongreso. Wala ko yan. These are all political noises, and these are all political persecution meant to disparage the good President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and meant to set the table for the eventual impeachment of our Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. So, ito yung mga real issues na dapat malaman ng sambayan ng Pilipino, and these are the real issues that we in Akbang ng Maisog, we are advocating for transparency, accountability, peace, and security. At ito yung mga issues na hindi lumalabas sa mainstream media. Buti na lang merong social media, the new media. Ito yung tinatabunan at para i-public yung incompetence and non-performance and non-achievement of the present administration, the Bongbong Marcos administration, almost 3 years into their 6-year term. Ito yung dapat malaman ng ating mga kababayan dahil talaga namang kagalit-galit. Ito kapabayaan ginagawa ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. And it's all about persecuting Rodrigo Roa Duterte. It's all about demonizing Vice President Inday Sara Duterte, for that matter. Kaya tayo ay umiikot at tangan-tangan natin yung issue ng transparency in our community.
June, throwing the very first hard questions, if you may, no? Doon sa mga very specific issues, no, na besetting our country today, no? So I let my partner John Avines throw in the first issue-specific question.
Yes, so I will just address him as Senator Vic. Senator Vic, tama yun, I agree when you said na ang nangyari ngayon is really more on covering, deception, diversion of the real issues, and yes, stonewalling. So I heard you kanina in front of political leaders and leaders of the Gross Oriental laying down your platform, because every time pipili tayo ng kandidato, just like when Duterte was campaigning, he was very specific about his platform, and his objectives.
Yeah.
I think I heard three very exciting
Yes.
platform that you explained to the people. So can you elaborate also to our audience, Senator?
My platform or advocacy is simple. I am leading the war on corruption, being the true opposition at ating tutugisin ang lahat ng tiwali sa gobyerno. Kung ako po ay paitulutan ninyo at pahiramin ng inyong mandato maging senador. Now, yung war on corruption at pagtugis sa mga kriminal at masasamang loob sa gobyerno ay hindi lamang po ito a mere slogan o hindi lamang po ito madagot statement. I have been asked many times, what makes you different from all those other candidates, even before you, even before this coming 2025 midterm election and campaign, na lahat ay sinasabi ayaw nila ng korupsyon at labanan nila ang lahat ng corruption. Mine is simple. How do I operationalize yung war on corruption? Kaya lagi ko sinasabi, tatlong bagay lang ko, mga kababayan. I'll try to make enough alliances kung sakasakali po tayo maging senador ninyo. Ibasura natin yung resolution number 10. Not many people know what this resolution number 10 is all about.
Right.
Resolution number 10 is simply, to simplify, is allowing liquidation of public money, your money, yung pera po natin, by mere certification or by stroke of pen, signature lamang ng head of office. Wala nang tanungan whether that's 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, 1 billion, what have you. Basta pinirmahan ng head of agency or ng mambabatas at sinabi niya, yan ay ginamit namin sa ganitong programa at proyekto, wala na akong tanungan yan. Hindi po dapat yan. Ulitin ko, I am centering on war on corruption because, especially, na ibasura yung resolution number 10 because I firmly believe that the Alpha and the Omega, ang simulat katapusan ng problema nating mga Pilipino ay ang pagnanakaw at korupsyon sa tabi ng budget. And because of foreign corruption, nabanggit ko rin kanina for the very first time, and I am reiterating it in your program this evening, I will push for the reimposition of death penalty. Pipilitin kong ibalik at isabatas ang pagbabalik ng kahatol na death penalty. Subalit sa dalawang krimen lamang. Ito po ay plunder at yung droga. Yung droga specifying yung mga nagpoprotekta sa mga drug lords, yung mga nagbibigay ng proteksyon sa mga pasimuno ng pagkalat ng droga na nasa pamahalaan. Be it the President, the Vice President, a Senator, Congressman, Mayor, hanggang Barangay Captain, basta opisyal ka ng pamahalaan at ikay mapatunayan na protektor ng mga drug lord, bitay ang karampatang tarusa. Only on these two heinous criminal acts. And of course, nabanggit ko rin yung pangatlo na ating pong tatanggalin na yung distinction between Metro Manila or National Capital Region wage rate vis-a-vis or versus the provincial wage rate.
Right.
Dahil ako ho'y naniniwala na walang pinagkaiba ang bigat ng trabaho sa probinsya, kagaya dito sa Dumaguete City, sa bigat ng trabaho, halimbawa na lamang sa Caloocan City, Quezon City, o Makati City. Ang trabaho ng mason sa probinsya ay parehas din po ng trabaho ng mason sa Metro Manila. Subalit, bakit kinakailangan mas mababa yung sahod ng mga nasa probinsya kung ikukumpara mo sa sahod ng nasa Metro Manila? Yes. Ang matagal ng dahilan o teorya na ibinibenta po sa atin ay dahil kanila mas mahal daw po ang cost of living sa Metro Manila kaysa sa probinsya. Subalit sa ating pong pag-aaral, wala pong katotohanan. Ibig panira, John, mga kababayan, ang lagi kong halimbawa, para maunawaan ninyo agad. Yung presyo po ng isang manok, isang hita ng manok na may isang kanin at may gravy ng Jollibee sa Dumaguete City, ay parehas ng presyo ng isang hita ng manok na may kanin na may gravy sa Metro Manila. Yung presyo po ng isang hamburger ng Jollibee sa Metro Manila ay katumbas po ng presyo ng Jollibee sa Dumaguete City. Bakit mas mababa ang sahod ng taga Dumaguete City kung iahambing mo sa mga taga Metro Manila? Isa pa ang halimbawa.
I strongly agree. Yes.
Ang trabaho ng mason, isa riyan ay magbuhat at magpasang ng isang sakong semento. Ang timbang ho, mga kababayan, ng isang sakong semento sa Dumaguete City ay parehas po ng timbang ng isang sakong semento sa Metro Manila. Ang init po ng araw sa Metro Manila, malamang sa hindi, mas mainit po sa init ng araw sa Dumaguete City. Bakit mas mababa ang trabaho ang sahod ng mason sa Dumaguete City kung iahambing po sa sahod ng mason sa Metro Manila? Pareho lang yung bigat ng trabaho.
And the practical,
Attorney, yes, go ahead.
and the practical consideration there is yung mga nag-overpopulate na taga-probinsya in Manila might actually want to come back
Yes.
home and, you know, do work for their provinces.
You know, we've been
Yes.
talking about this for decades. How to decongest Metro Manila.
Rural development.
You can decongest Metro Manila pag pinarehas mo ang sahod sa Metro Manila at probinsya. Bakit kanyo? Mawawala na yung gigil na sa Maynila na lang ako magpapakasakali, makikipagsapalaran kasi mas malaki ang sasakurin ko. So lahat ng tao, natural, is like, Metro Manila is like a magnet.
Right.
You attract all sorts of skilled, semi-skilled, professionals kasi mas mataas yung rate ng bayad sa Metro Manila. Hindi, the best way to decongest Metro Manila, parehas yung sahod.
Right.
Payamanin natin yung mga nasa probinsya.
Right.
Even the industries, now we go to the provinces. You will decongest Metro Manila, whether you like it or not.
Right.
At yung mga nagtatrabaho, yung mga kagaya nating trabahante, hindi mo na papangaraping mawalay pa sa pamilya.
Exactly.
Dahil nasa Dumaguete City ka lang, parehas lang ang sahod.
Yes.
Dito baka kaya mong walking distance lang yung pambahay mo hanggang sa area of work mo, makakatipid ka. Pag pananghalian, meron namang 1 hour break, baka naman pwedeng lakarin lang, o maliit na commute, small commute, pwede ka pang mananghali sa bahay mo, you spend quality time with the family. Unlike in Metro Manila, alam ko, taga dyan ako lumaki, dyan ako pinanganak, hanggang ngayon ako.
Kasi nga, Atty. If I may cut you off, no? Di ba, ang laki din pala ng percentage ng mga non-Manileños, no, in the workforce in the NCR. Most of them are actually from the provinces as far as Mindanao,
Yes.
right? So if you incentivize those workers to go back to their own provinces, kasi level na yung playing field, kumbaga, kasi pantay na yung pasweldo nila, whether in Manila o kung saan mang probinsya, even in Tawi-Tawi or in the Babuyan Islands.
Yes.
So parang gano'n, no? Therefore, yung mga trabahante mo, the productive part of the population will now be based solely in their own home provinces. And therefore, pagka nandun yung workforce mo, essentially, yung mga investors will follow.
Of course.
Kasi nandun yung mga trabahante. Right? But before we delve into that more critical issue on how to get those things done, I was really struck, to be honest, because this is the first time, no, mga kababayan, that I've heard Atty. Vic Rodriguez when he declared that given the chance to be elected in the Senate, he will push for the imposition of the death penalty, sabi nga niya, dun sa mga drug-related crimes perpetrated by government officials, at saka dun sa mga plunder, no, which is actually 50 million. Pero, ang hindi na-mention ni Atty. Vic kanina, he will also push for lowering down the threshold of plunder, which is currently at 50 million, to around 5 million. Now, Atty. Vic, this is my question. That declaration, in so many words, will probably ruffle the feathers of the Catholic Church. I know you're a very rational person. You're a very smart and intelligent man. I'm sure you've evaluated in so many instances ano yung implication ng statement mo na yun. A predominantly Catholic country of about 90%, and we all know the stand of the church against death penalty. Are you not afraid of the repercussions in terms of your viability as a candidate of the powerful Roman Catholic Church?
No, I'm not. Because I think my sentiment and my statement and my stand is but a mere reflection of what's really the sentiment of the majority of the Filipino people, regardless of their political beliefs or denomination.
Right.
Ako'y naniniwala na yung ating panukalang isulong at ibalik muli ang death penalty, provided ito sa kaso plunder lamang at sa droga na may kinalaman yung pagbibigay ng proteksyon ng mga nasa pamahalaan, nasa gobyerno, ang natatamaan ng panukalang ibalik ang death penalty. Look, yung usapin ng pagnanakaw sa pera ng gobyerno, very, very recent, tayo binayo na naman ng bagyo. At nakita natin yung kasamaang idinulot ng ating pagiging, we can call it, hindi na parang, how we become so permissive. Dito sa kaliliwat ka ng talamak na nakawa na okay lang. Huwag mo tayong maniwala na this is the new normal. Let's not accept that big fat lie that these corrupt politicians are feeding us. This is unacceptable, this is not normal, and this should never be normal. Now, will I displease the conservative? Probably.
Yes.
But desperate times call for desperate measures. Ang kinakailangan natin ay kamay na bakal pagdating sa dealing with corrupt politicians and corruption in government. Look, dahil sa pagnanakaw, sa pondo na dapat sana'y linaan sa flood control program, mga kababayan, nakakagalit, nakakalungkot, nakakapangilabot na higit kumulang 200 inosenteng Pilipino ang namatay dahil nalunod sa baha, dahil inalot ng baha, dahil natabunan ng floods na slide. Ito po ay hindi dahil sa pagpapalit ng klima. Ito po ay dahil sa korupsyon. Korupsyon ng 1, 2, 3, hanggang 5 tao na nasa gobyerno. Ang kapalit ay 200 inosenteng mamamayang Pilipino kasama na yung mga walang kamuang-muang na bata. And I'm willing to risk my candidacy in taking a strong stand for the return of death penalty, provided only on cases of plunder at yung droga na ang nagpoprotekta ay mga taong gobyerno. Speaking of plunder, we'll push the envelope further. Let's reduce the threshold for plunder. Wala na yung 50 million, ninuloko po tayo ng batas na yung mga kababayan.
I agree.
Why do you have to wait for a thief in government to accumulate 49.9 million bago siya huminto para hindi siya maparusahan sa kaso ng plunder? Ninuloko tayo ng batas na ito. Ang pagnanakaw ay pagnanakaw. Kahit sa Biblia, banggitin natin yung Roman Catholic. Ako po ay hindi naman relihiyosong tao, subalit ako'y lumaki. Through and through. Mula nung ako'y isinilang dahil sa aking ina na talaga namang sagradong Katolika, at ako'y pinag-aral sa Catholic school mula prep, elementary, high school, college, and law school. Talagang yan, ang Catholic school yan. Subalit nakikita naman natin na hinihingi ng pagkakataon. Sobra na yung ginagawang pagnanakaw dahil hindi sila natatakot. Ibabaho natin yung threshold ng plunder from 50 million to 5 million. Others are saying, mabait ka pa nga, so gawin natin 1 million.
Yes.
And I agree because it's in the Bible, di ba? Thou shall not steal.
Yes. The most sacred.
Whether we legislate this or not, it's in the natural order of things. Huwag kang magnanakaw. At dahil sa pagnanakaw ninyo, daan-daang tao, inosente ang namamatay. Dahil yung flood control programs ay nawawala at yung flood control funds ay binulsa ninyo. Marapat lamang na managot ang mga tao nito at ibalik natin ang death penalty sa kasong flood at ibaba natin ang threshold from 50 million to 5 million. And no one, I think, Joe Panyera at IBALIK can say na ito'y anti-poor. Pag nagnakaw ka na ng 50 million, pag nagnakaw ka na ng 5 million, hindi ka na poor. Hindi ka na poor.
I'm very happy, Senator Vic, kasi most of our senatoriables, most of the time, ang pinagsasabi nila is more on pleasing the establishment. Every time they speak their platform, natatakot sila, let's say, Catholic Church, the oligarchy, the money sectors in the society, like us, very small bloggers, na halos wala tayong chance to fight in a fair fight sa mass media. So, ang nangyari ngayon, every time may election, ang pinofocus ng mga senatoriables or candidates is to please those who wants to give them funds rather than the voters. And I'm happy na talagang diretsang sinabi ni Atty. Vic, and sa akin personally, that 5,500 infrastructure flood control project, tapos in less than 3 days, bumaha ang Metro Manila. Hindi lang yun kumbaga sapak sa mukha.
Right.
It is a testament, this is the way of nature to tell the Filipino, ninakaw yung pera nyo at walang infrastructure project, kahit na yung wala tayong video nakita sa media. Ito talaga ang lalaki na wall na press one year ago or 6 months ago, wala kahit isa. Pero ilan ang namatay, tinutone down ng media kung ilan ang namatay. In fact, sa ngayon, nasa social media ngayon, hindi lang 200 yung namatay.
Sabi 400.
Yeah. There's more casualty. And we are, ED and me, we are planning to interview senatoriables like you who give us small bloggers the chance to interview, because at the end of the day, the deciding those who will decide this election are the poor people, the voters. So sana lahat ng mga interview natin o mga politicians will address the need of the voters rather than being parang nagkikis na lang sa paanan mga establishment, when those establishment for the hundreds of years sila yung nakikinabang.
And yeah, yung death toll, pinag-uusapan lang natin dito, yung published na naman itong muli, si Bagyo Katrina.
Yeah.
Remember, hindi po ito dahil sa climate change lamang. I have to admit, talagang totoo may climate change.
Yes.
Pero itong nangyayari sa ating bansa, hindi po ito kasalanan ng pagpalit ng klima. Ito po ay kasalanan ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Ng administrasyon ni Bongbong Marcos. Dahil hinahayaan niya yung kanyang mga tauhan at aliado na patuloy naghahasain ang pondo at ibulsa ang pera ng bansa. Totoo yan. Meron po tayong bagyong Karina.
Yes.
Meron po tayong bagyong Enteng. Pangatlo na po itong Katrina.
Meron pa tayong
At paulit ang kwento. Tingnan ho ninyo yung mga flood-prone areas. Halimbawa na lang sa Metro Manila, yung Marikina City. Kakatapos pa lang nung bagyong Karina, naglilinis ng kanilang mga bahay, yung mga sofa nila, yung mga appliances, yung mga kasangkapan, yung iba'y binili, yung iba'y nakautang pa, nadali ng baha. Kakatapos pa lang maglinis, hindi pa malinis ang bahay, isa na namang baha ang darating. Hindi po ito ang standard, hindi po ito ang normal. And yet, makikita natin yung mga tao sa Kongreso, yung iba yan sa Senado. Pag nandoon po sa kanila, opisina, sa kanilang mga tanggapan, kala mo'y nagpa-fashion show. Ang isang bag ay halagang 2 million. Ang relo ay halagang 5 million.
Supercars.
Pera po yun, mga kababayan. Pera po yun. yun ang ating habulin sa pagbabalik ng death penalty. And I strongly believe ang death penalty will be a deterrence.
Yes, deterrent.
Deterrent ito sa kanilang temptasyon na nakawin ang pera ninyo, ang pera ko, ang pera natin mga Pilipino. Ngayon, kung ikay nakasuhan, you can avail the services of the best law firm, the biggest law firm, the best lawyer or lawyers, battery of lawyers. Why? May pera kayo, ninakaw mo sa gobyerno,
Yes.
ninakaw mo nila sa atin yung pangbabayad nila. If at the end of a protracted trial, naatulan ka pa rin at naging guilty, ibig sabihin talagang nagnakaw. At huwag ho tayong maaawa sa mahatulan ng death penalty. Bakit? Tatandaan po niyo, habang sila'y nagpapakasasa sa pera ninyo, tayo'y patuloy na naghihirap. Maraming namamatay araw-araw dahil sa poverty.
Yes.
Maraming namamatay araw-araw dahil sa pagtaas ng kriminalidad. Bakit? Mahirap ang buhay natin. Samantalang itong mga nagnanakaw ng pera ng gobyerno, wala ko silang pakialam sa atin. Kaya panahon na ating isulong ang death penalty again dito sa plunder at sa issue ng droga sa mga nagpoprotekta sa mga yung mga drug cartels na nagmumula po sa gobyerno o yung mga taong gobyerno.
Before I hand you over to Attorney Irene, I'd like to ask you, Attorney Vic, because I saw a press statement ni Bongbong Marcos about 2-3 days ago, na yung Quick Response Fund, yung QRF, intended to provide immediate relief to victims of tragedies like what happened between Karina and Christine, naubos na pala dahil napakaraming sakuna ang tumama sa atin, mga kababayan. And remember, no, Christine is just letter K. We are visited typically by about 20 storms, no, in a year. At sometimes, more than the letters of the alphabet tayo. At nasa letter K pa lang tayo. We haven't had, meron pa tayong one month and a half, di ba? So talagang we have 500 billion pesos worth of ayuda, no? Na pinasok nila sa 2024 na budget. Samantala, yung QRF natin ay ubos na pala at they are now looking to refund it, no? Kasi nga, hindi pa tatapos pa yung taon.
Yeah.
Applying tomorrow.
And they are planning to borrow. And in fact, they have already borrowed. No, I think somewhere between 238 million US dollars from the World Bank. They are looking at another borrowing series of borrowings from I think Asian Development Bank, I think. So, yun na nga, no, ang sinasabi ni Atty. Vic, Atty. Erin, by June, no, na meron nga akong isang satirical post dito Yung corruption, mga kababayan, dito sa Pilipinas is already bordering on crimes against humanity. Because ang namamatay dito ay yung mga kababayan natin na talagang naghihirap at mga mahihirap. So, kung sinasabi nila na crimes against humanity daw, yung mga namamatay dahil sa mga drug operations, which is just less than 1.8% to the total drug operations, no, against the 1.5 million or 6 million na nag-surrender. In any war, Atty. Vic, whether it's a war on drugs, whether it's a war on corruption, whether it's a shooting war, there are bound to be collateral damage. No?
So, but with the death penalty,
Yes.
to be imposed again, with the reimposition of death penalty, kung tayo papalarin na may lusot yan, pa tayo maging sinunod. Yung magiging, ang mamamatay na ay yung mga perpetrators of the crime.
Exactly.
And I think, if I were to choose between a thief that's resulting in the taking away of the lives of, again, in the most recent typhoon, 200 or so, maybe more, innocent Filipinos. May young, may old, may batang paslit. I don't think mahirap ang pilihan kung kanino mo dapat ipataw yung kay kaparusahan kamatayan.
Attorney Eric, you have a follow-up question?
Yes, it just occurred to me because you are mounting a very challenging campaign.
Yes.
You're very passionate about your issues, but you also are not running with any party. You're running independent. Right?
Yes.
Senator
Yes.
So how do you foresee yourself somehow going through that challenge na even if you are running independent, flying solo as an underdog, that you could compete with those other senatorial votes who have the machinery of powerful parties, political parties.
Was all the money
They've all
And the cloud.
at the cloud.
And they are most of them are the incumbents.
And they are
Yes.
also playing safe on issues. They would be playing safe on issues because they also don't want to rock the boat.
Kailangan baguhin na natin yung mindset natin mga Pilipino. Hindi tayo pwedeng sabihin, kayo independent, wala kang pag-asang manalo, wala kang pera. Alam mo ninyo, ito na naman, babalik tayo. Ang ugat ng problema natin, yung pagnanakaw. At yung sobrang pera ng mga ibang kumakandidato, tanungin lang ninyo, saan galing yung pera niya? Pera niyo po yan, hindi po nila pera. Yung binibigay sa inyo ayuda, pera niyo po yan, hindi po pera ng mga politiko yan. Wala masama sa ayuda, lalo na kung panahon ng kalamidad o trahedya. Pero kung yung ayuda ay binibigay, only to promote an advance, and for sole purpose of furthering the political aggrandizement, yun may problema tayo. Uubusin ang pera natin. Today, as we speak, tonight, ang utang ho natin mga Pilipino ay higit na sa 16 trillion pesos. Because of yung pagtaas ng halaga ng dolyar, marami, I think 40% of our ang pagkakautang ng national government ay in dollar denomination or foreign currency.
Yes.
So at 58.50, higit na tumaas yung total amount ng ating pagkakautang. Bukod pa sa mga bagong utang na sinors through local financing or local banks. Ito po yung 16 trillion may nagtumulang. Pero may nabanggit si Andy kanina, hindi pa ako kasama dito, I believe. Hindi pa kasama dito yung mga pinautang sa atin ng IMF, ng World Bank, at saka ng EDB. Pag kaya sinama mo, I think ang ating national debt is around 19-20 trillion pesos. At pag yan ay na-establish natin, kababayan, kaya natin isinusulong yung pagbabalik ng death penalty para lang din maunawaan. Kahit ito ang batang Pasig, kahit ito yung batang kasalukuyang kakapanganak pa lang ngayon, kalalabas sa hirapupunan, maybe 3 seconds ago, 5 seconds ago, may utang na huyan na mahigit kumulang 140,000 pesos. Ang tayo Pilipino, may pagkakautang po tayo ng higit kumulang 140,000 pesos each. Tapos, hahayaan lang natin na patuloy na ganito, na nakawin ng mga korap na politiko ang pera ng Pilipinas. Maawa na po tayo. Huwag na sa sarili natin yung mga darating pangsaling dahil, yung mga kabataan natin. And di ako nahiya dito sa ating isinusulong na pagbabalik ng death penalty. I think this is a good deterrent, and let's lower down let's lower the threshold rather ng plunder from 50 million, 5 million.
John, you want to add?
Yes, I'm just overwhelmed because I've been blogging in the last 5 years. Tapos,
I'm overwhelmed like the flood control.
yes, in the last 2 years, halos walang proyekto na nangyayari. Tapos sinabi may 5,500 flood control projects. Tapos walang ebidensya na mayroon talagang project na nangyayari. Tapos lahat ng media ayaw magsalita, ayaw mag-focus sa real issue. Tapos ang nakikita natin sa media, puro persecution of the Duterte and its allies. Tapos the election is fast coming. Tapos yung buong Pilipinong bansa is halos parang binablind tayo. And we need to go back to the real issue na yung gobyerno natin ay talagang ninanakawan at wala tayong ginagawa sa mga magnanakaw. Tapos ngayon, bakit andito tayo with Atty. Vic, Senator Vic, why is he here? Because meron tayong laban. Laban to ng mga mahihirap, laban ng mga walang kalaban-laban sa mga magnanakaw, na dapat meron tayong mga matatapang na kandidato tulad ni Atty. Vic or at least vlogging, maliliit na mga microbloggers na may tapang para lang sa darating na eleksyon, may chance tayong makuha yung leadership. Kasi I'm very emotional listening to Atty. Vic because even when you speak against the government at this very moment and even in the last few months, you will be persecuted. And at this very moment, I'm almost sure they're planning how to put like the likes of Atty. Vic and everybody because as we speak, kahit na si Duterte, he's very popular. The support of the people is very strong. And they keep on trying to kill him in every way. Emotional, financial, and physical harassment, political. And the government right now, ginamit na as an army o as a tool to protect the plunderers ng magnanakaw. It ceased to become a government of the people. It has become an army. It has become a private institution that will persecute people like me, microbloggers, like Atty. Vic, who wants to serve this country. So, parang wala akong tanong, I'm just blurting out my emotions kasi laban to ng mga Pilipino. I just heard dito sa Dumaguete na there were orders to not to apprehend drug dealing. Tapos yung and I heard it from the streets. When I was walking, tapos sinabi pa rin na when you deal with drugs, it's being used through a rider, tapos GCash na. So I'm emotionally enraged, tapos I'm also happy na I don't believe na kukunti lang matatapang, sir. I think it's just a matter of parang dapat magkaroon tayo ng yung magkaisa lang tayo or through vlogging. Sana maraming nakikinig, sana maraming mag-share na hindi patapos ang laban, may chance tayo. Pero every time na natatakot tayo magsalita, natatakot tayong lalaban, sinong lalaban para sa atin? Para ako ang politiko.
Anyway, yes, I agree with you, no? I have to ask you some very specific questions mamaya, no? But para lang sa mga nanonood dito, no? This has largely not been talked about, no? Kanina nga kasi, I was really impressed doon sa turnout ng mga local leaders of the entire Negros Oriental Province, no? Na nandito, no? At baka nakita nyo, it was yung live feed ng Third Floor Studios, gaano sila karami. Hindi kasi na-emphasize yung experience ni Atty. Vic Rodriguez bilang isang barangay captain. Yes, mga kababayan, Atty. Vic Rodriguez became the youngest, I think, barangay captain during his incumbency as isang 19-year-old.
19.
That's
Na barangay captain. Yes, 19-year-old. 19 years old pa lang. Ang isang Atty. Vic Rodriguez, naging kapitan na yan ng barangay. So he knows his terrain, he knows his politics, he knows how government works. At can you just elaborate on that, Atty. Vic, yung experience mo being a barangay captain? Kasi nga, yung lahat ng sinasabi mo, yung korupsyon, yung droga, lahat yan actually, nasa barangay level yan. Nasa na-influence yan sa barangay level. And in fact, yung mga kapitan natin, in fairness to them, sila talaga yung first touch, yung first line of defense doon sa corruption at saka sa droga. So, Atty. Vic, tell us briefly, no? Paano ka nang naging kapitan?
I was a student leader to a USTV.
Okay.
yun, mga kabayan.
Right.
And siyempre, pag college pa ako noon, third year college sa UST rin, and I entered itong barangay election, village election kung tawagin.
Right.
But my area in Quezon City is along Tomas Morato, Timog, and it's a prime area.
Right.
And that is where I got my first taste of real politics at the age of 19.
Wow.
And ang aking kasama noon ay first termer din na congressman, si Sally Del Monte.
Oh,
Na ang aking district.
yun ang district na naman.
Noon kami kakilala ng sama. And after 8 years, I'm still eligible to run for third term, the election. But I was already reviewing for the bar exam. I have options. Pwede ka naman mag-claim and run, I'm sure I'm going to win. Not then. Pero sa hindi na, ang feeling ko nun, I have rendered my civic duty as a Filipino. Hindi pa buong bansa ang aking pananaw. I've already rendered my civic duty, at least in my barangay, in my city, my beloved city of Quezon City. And I think that's enough ako. And it's time that I have to attend to my personal growth and advancement. I have to study, concentrate, and review for the bar exam. I really want to become a lawyer. Kaya ako hindi nang tumakbo. Ayaw ko na dapat I'm done. 8 good years of my life, I'm done.
So 8 years yan, naging barangay captain ka.
Pwede pa ako isang term.
Yes.
Let's give chance to others. I think I've done well. And by the people in my area, in my community, would attest to how I have served them.
Sorry, Atty. Rebecca, but that's very, very rare now. Politicians foregoing a chance to run and win again for a last term.
Naiiya ako nun na I'll be reviewing for 6 months kasi ang graduation Marso, ang bar exam is September. Ito yung bar exam na lumhan pa. Hindi pa ito yung bagong 50 na lumhan. 50.
But any politician can actually exploit the indefinite leave of absence, no? Na minsan umaabot ng 1-2 taon ng mga PI na ano eh, hindi lang mura kasi
PI ba? Wala.
Wala tayong PI ngayon mga kababayan.
That's why I understand the sinasabi kanina.
Exactly. Go ahead.
What we should have is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. At yung sinasabi ni dating Pangulong Ramon Magsaysay ng araw, ang gobyerno dapat nagmumula sa ilalim ng taas. Hindi yung nagmumula sa taas, dikta ng mga oligarko, dikta ng mga grupong politiko. Yun ang estado natin ngayon. And I think we have a good chance of reversing yung ating sitwasyon ngayong midterm election. There are so many candidates, and I'm just one of the many. Lagi ko sinasabi, suriin ninyo. If you find somebody who will work for the interests of the Philippine people, not necessarily me, vote for him or vote for her. Pagkakataon natin, and I'm afraid this could be our last chance to try to reverse the continuing slide brought about by the inefficiency, incompetence, and the talamak na graft of corruption na mararamdaman natin ngayon sa administrasyon.
In relation to that, Atty. In relation to that, the recent results of the US election,
Yes.
a very surprising turn of events, wherein itong si Kamala Harris, endorsed by a universe of celebrities
And their mainstream media.
and their mainstream media.
And you'd really think na yung nanalo ngayon is so
And they were the ones
vilified.
very noisy in mainstream media, vilifying Mr. Trump,
Yes.
a convicted fellow, indicted 34 times.
Yes.
But
Survive 3 assassinations.
survived 3 assassinations, to add to that, pero, hindi man yung landslide, but a very commanding win of 292 electoral votes against Kamala Harris of the
And he won
neoliberals.
electoral and popular
the
votes.
electoral votes and the popular votes was won by Mr. Trump and all the swing states. At walang ni isang estado of all the 50 states, I think, na nanalo si Kamala Harris. So, do you really think, Atty. Vic, no, the way they are demonizing the Dutertes, the way you are being vilified by those people that you once served and you once helped earn those positions and the trust of millions of Filipinos, do you think na yung groundswell of dissent, yung nag-aalab na damdamin ng mga Pilipino na hindi na talaga nila katanggap-tanggap na niloloko na lang tayo ng mga political elites will eventually fuel candidates like you to earn or to be elected a Senate seat?
Well, as a candidate, I vote for.
Yes.
I vote for. But as a Filipino, I'm begging my fellow Filipinos, this could be our last chance to redirect this sorry state and sorry direction of our country under this Bongbong Marcos administration. We should work together. Again, I invite you to join me. Call it a crusade, call it an advocacy, call it whatever way you want to call it. But itong ating inilulunsad na gyera laban sa korupsyon at pagtugis sa matiwali sa gobyerno, samahan po ninyo ako dito. Dahil hindi na biro-biro ang nakawan na yun. Hindi na daang libo, hindi na daan, kundi bilyong piso. At ang masakit talaga na nakakagalit, pumapatay ito ng mga initiative tao. Yung korupsyon sa flood control funds, yung korupsyon sa those flood control programs have resulted in the death of hundreds of Filipinos, innocent at pati mga batang paskil. Dapat merong managot. Dapat natin silang panagutin. Kaya nga isinusulong ko yung gera laban sa korupsyon, pagtugi sa mga tiwali sa gobyerno, at ibalik natin ang death penalty sa kasong plunder at pagprotekta sa drug lord ng mga nasa gobyerno.
Now going back to drugs, no, mga kababayan, I know if you've seen the interview of PNP Chief Romel Marbil with Pinky Webb sa Billionario News Channel.
Yes.
At binanggit doon, Atty. Irene, Atty. Vic, binanggit ni Marbil na para bagang mas lax ngayon ang gobyerno ni Bongbong Marcos sa illegal drug trade at sa mga drug users. Kasi nga, some or most of the drug users are using drugs for their economic benefit. At sinabi niya yun, example, yung isang trabahante daw,
Sa call center.
o maybe sa call center o kung saan, ay
Overtime.
nagtitake ng drugs daw to extend their working hours, meaning para makapag-overtime sila and to earn more. That's the economic benefit daw niya. Now, what is more appalling and despicable and disgusting, it was echoed by no less than Brigadier General Fajardo in a press conference. Vinalidate niya yung sinasabi ng kanyang hepe na si Marbil at sinasabi niya, inaamin niya na it's a mental health issue at yun na nga, for economic benefit. At yun na, ang pinaka-basic math nun. If you are spending 500 pesos for shabu, only to earn 2 hours of 300 pesos, walang economic benefit. Lugi ka pa ng 200. Second, yung social cost. So, ang tanong ko sa iyo, Atty. Vic, no? Ito talagang very contentious na tanong to. No? At naitanong ko na rin sa inyo, ito, yung beses na. No? And in fact, most vloggers ay natanong ka na rin. No? Ano ba talaga ang totoong estado ng allegation na itong si Bongbong Marcos ay isang drug user as far as the allegations of Katibinag, or the revelations of Katibinag, the Polvoron video of Maharlika? Do you have personal knowledge of
Can I also add,
that? Ano?
if you knew, did you know it then? When
Yes.
you were still helping in his campaign?
No, I have no personal knowledge.
Right.
I have no personal knowledge. I value my word. I value my dignity, so I cannot make accusation when it is not based on my personal knowledge. However, I have made it clear, mga kababayan, paulit-ulit, itong aligasyon na gumagamit ng droga, sabi ko nga, para once and for all, tapusin natin ito. Why not undergo an open, fair, transparent, and credible hair follicle drug test?
Which actually, mga kababayan, if you haven't noticed or if you haven't been informed, Congressman Pulong Duterte already underwent on his second hair follicle drug testing. One was in August after he filed a bill calling for a mandatory drug testing for all who are running for office, lahat ng mga kandidato. Second, he underwent sometime about October 23 ata yun, because nag-challenge itong mga young guns sa Kongreso na i-neuropsychiatric test si Inday, at si Inday naman nag-challenge doon sa mga young guns sa Kongreso to undergo hair follicle drug testing. At nag-challenge din si Mix Nograles at Pulong Duterte called the challenge, no? At he's negative on I think 10 of the identified heavily used substances or illegal substances. Now, tama ka nga, no, Atty, no? Ano ba yun? Kasi you've been interfacing with the Marcos family, no, although professionally, maybe a bit personally as well. Ano ba yung mindset nila at talagang ayaw nila? Not even to respond or dignify, quote-unquote, that call.
Well, regardless of their mindset, they are duty bound since public office is a public trust. This is a story that just would not go away.
Yes.
And this story that would not go away is specifically holding him as the number one executor and implementer of all the laws of the land. He is duty bound to heed the call of the Filipino people to undergo again an open, fair, credible, transparent, and if need be, a televised hair follicle drug test. At talagang maybe through the Private Hospital Association of the Philippines Incorporated, maybe through the Philippine Medical Association, and a third-party credible institution that would process the result. Naririnig natin yan, may challenge dito, may challenge yan. Kinol na ni Vice President Inday Sara yung challenge na bakit kayo na nahimik? In fact, may partida na ibinigay sa inyo, yung Ali.
Yes.
Yes.
Dalawa sa kanya.
Ang kanya, hindi lang siya mag-undergo ng psychiatric test. Sasabayan pa niya ng drug test.
Yes.
Sa kayo nga, drug test lang eh.
Wala niya yung psychiatric.
And then kita ho ninyo mga kababayan, pinatay na rin nila yung issue.
Tama.
At sinasabi nila, sige, magpapa-undergo kami ng drug test but with certain conditionality. Walang kondisyon. Drug test, simple. Ang security guard, yung mga kaibigan natin security guard, yung mga kaibigan natin nagtatrabaho sa mga service industry, sa mga fast food companies,
Driver.
hindi kayo tatanggapin kung wala kayong pinapakitang negative drug test result. Bakit itong mga mambabatas na humihipo ng bilyon-bilyong pisong pera ng Pilipino, hindi pwede magpa-drug test?
Tama.
Dapat magpa-drug test.
Very few actually only rose to the challenge. Diba? Very few of those challenged by Inday na lawmakers. Ilan lang ba?
Wala pa
Si
tayo.
Nograles.
Wala pa resulta. Ayaw pa nag-post ng result eh.
And one thing,
Meron na.
and one thing, sige, ayaw ng hair follicle drug test. Sige, urine test na.
No!
I just know,
No.
no, sa akin.
No.
Sa akin lang.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hair follicle drug test, maybe it's really so hard to stay sober for 3 months. I would be a little bit more relieved siguro if I know you can stay sober for a week. Maybe, slightly. Pero even a urine test, you cannot get
And
through.
for all intensive purposes and for all practical reasons, para matuldukan itong issue ko. So we can all move forward as a nation
Yes.
and as a people.
I'm speaking.
Magpa-drug test na lahat. At para naman hindi na iipit yung Pangulo lang. Lahat ng nasa executive. Pati yung nasa Kongreso. Total, there are 3 branches of government.
Yes.
Pumayag nga ang Vice Presidente, dapat pumayag ang Pangulo. Para naman balanse yung Senate President, pati yung Speaker of the House. Para walang mapintasan yung Chief Justice natin ng Korte Suprema.
Nag-random drug test na yung mga
lower. Yeah, I think
You cannot apply and you cannot be promoted and you cannot be appointed as a judge of either Metropolitan Trial Court, Regional Trial Court, Court of Appeals, at Bayan Justice na hindi ka nag-undergo ng drug testing.
kahit
siguro it's time for us Filipinos, especially those who are very active in social media, to make sure na let's be noisy about this na we only vote public officials, especially senators, kasi ito ang pinakamataas na posisyon na natin na if the senator does not submit a hair follicle test and if he does not make a position on drugs, because drug is really killing our nation, killing our children, killing our society, it should be a big issue for all bloggers and for every Filipino to say, unless a senatorial or a congressman candidate submits a hair follicle test or any kind of test that is deemed clean and reliable, then he will not be on my list of in my late vote test. What can you say about that, Senator Nico?
Well, ako kasi, kandidato ko, bakit naman na I will sound like as if I'm pontificating in your vlog program tonight. But let me be very clear. When I filed my certificate of candidacy last October 8, I had with me my drug test result. Isusubili ko dapat sumali. Hindi naman daw kinakailangan.
Oh, yun! Hindi kailangan.
Let's make it clear. So you had a drug test, negative
Drug test result. Before filing.
I had it with me when I filed.
Okay.
And I presented it, I think, 2 araw, 3 araw makalipas na ako ay nag-file ng candidacy in my interview with Maharlika.
Oh.
Ipinakita ko yung aking negative drug test. And even prior to the interview with Maharlika, I guess, ipinakita ko rin ito eh. Hindi ko alam kung KPH update o pinakita ko yung aking negative test result.
Ayan, settled now. Negative.
settled na agad. Oh.
Anyway, before I forget, before I lose my train of thought, let's go back to corruption, Atty. Vic, no? Ang sabi mo, if given the chance ng isang upuan doon sa Senado, your first course of action will be to gather support to invalidate, no, and rescind current resolution number 10 for liquidation by certification. Yung isang importanteng piece of legislation na hanggang ngayon mga kababayan, ay hindi pa rin umuusad dyan sa legislatura. At ngayon ay ginagamit na by virtue of the Executive Order number 2 ni Tatay Digong, yung FOI, Freedom of Information Executive Order for the Executive Department, no? Ay hanggang ngayon, yung FOI bill, nakatainga pa rin dyan sa Kongreso. For the whole of government, executive, legislative, even the judiciary. It should be a legislated FOI bill covering all branches of government. Will you be pushing for the approval of an FOI bill?
Oh, because malinaw sa saligang batas natin yan, na sa lahat ng antas ng diskurso na may kinalaman sa political, social, and economic policies o legislation na isinusulong ng ninuman, ay dapat mong konsultahin ang mamamayan at all stages and levels of political, economic, and social discourse.
Right.
Now, if the Constitution guarantees that, ito, enabling ano lang naman itong buhay para pabigyang buhay mo yung nakasaad sa ating fundamental law of the land. Malinaw doon eh. Lahat yan, political, social, economic diskurso. Kinakailangan nalalaman ng sambayan ang kinukonsulta mo at all stages, at all levels. So wala, no-brainer yun. Hindi dapat pinahirapan, dapat kayo ipasa.
Exactly. And then to add to that
Kasi
discussion.
wala kang tinatago. matatakot.
Yes,
And
I agree.
sige, go ahead, John.
No, I just
Yeah, but to add to that statement, narinig din namin kanina, no, ang tinutukoy mong korupsyon dyan sa legislature, no? Yung unprogrammed appropriation na, to put it simply, is talagang pork barrel.
Yeah.
Okay? At nangyayari yan because of seemingly a faulty and a flawed budget process. And isa na dyan is the Bicameral Conference Committee. We talked about this issue on our first interview. Ano ba yung, pag naupo ka dyan sa Senado, Atty., ano ba yung plano mo? Are you going to revisit the budget process? Are you going to overhaul?
No, Ibi, we do not have to reinvent the wheel. The Constitution already provided for everything. Yung budget process malinaw doon. Na hindi mo pwedeng iangat ang panukala ng Pangulo pagdating sa budget. Pwede mong parehasin kung 10 piso ang panukala ng executive to the president, 10 piso din ipapasa ninyo na gagawin yung daan. Pero hindi mo pwedeng gawin 11 piso, 12 piso, 15 piso yung panukala ng executive na 10 piso yung magiging tao ng budget. Malinaw yan, nakasaad yan sa Constitution.
So it's unconstitutional.
Ang gagawin lamang po natin bilang sinig ng tunay na oposisyon, isisiwalat natin itong paglabag na malinaw at pagsusulong ng unconstitutional GAA. Dahil sinasabi nga na mas mataas yung pinapasang GAA kung ikukumpara mo doon sa NEP na sinusumiti na yung NEP po yung panukalang budget for the coming year na sinusumiti na ekutibo. At hindi ka pwedeng tumaas dyan. At malinaw din yan, kasali ang batas. Dadagdagan ko pa ng isang unconstitutional act. Yung ditong ginawa nila sa 2024 budget, mga kababayan, ito'y malapit sa puso ninyo. Dahil lalo na yung masakit sa puso. Dahil tinanggalan nila ng 89.9 billion pesos sa PhilHealth. Ang sinasabi nila, nakasaad daw yun sa GAA. Ang GAA po, ang General Appropriations Act, is an appropriations law. Hindi mo pwedeng lagyan ng rider yan. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin may provision kasi sa GAA na kukunin mo yung unutilized or excess funds ng mga GOCC. Hindi pwede yun. It should have been made into a separate and distinct law. That again is unconstitutional. Kaya maraming ginagawa ang kasalukuyang Kongreso, ang mataas at mababang kapulungan na unconstitutional. Kung tayo po ay pagkakatiwalaan ninyo, tayo ang magiging boses ng tunay na oposisyon. At we don't have to do anything new. We just have to implement yung mga batas na nakasaad sa saligang batas. Kaya na tayo dito sa hakbang ng maiso, ang ating sinisigaw, uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution. And we are demanding for transparency, accountability, peace, and security.
You have any more to add to that?
No,
One question for the Atty.
Okay lang, Marites.
Sige, Marites.
Okay lang.
Marites.
Kasi the rules part eh. And, you know, I always have an ear for qualifiers, di ba, Paniero? You said earlier you had no personal knowledge about the drug use or the, you know, of the first family. Kung walang personal knowledge, may Marites knowledge.
Open naman pinag-usapan yan. Open
Even
pinag-usapan.
even
Open
the,
pinag-usapan yan. Ako, to be honest, I'm just waiting for that one false move. From him, I would have walked away. At iiwan ko yan. Galit ako dyan. Galit ako dyan. Marami nang sinagayan. At ayoko maging parte ng isang bagay na matindi rin ang aking pagtuto. But again, just to put an end to this never-ending saga of his, submit to an open, fair, transparent, and credible hearing of the contest.
Yes.
Pakinggan mo ang sinisigaw ng sambayan ng Pilipino. At huwag po tayo mag-alala. Kung sakasakaling may magpositibo, parang naman pamilya yan eh. Pag meron kang na napatunayan na gumagamit sa iyong pamilya kung pinagbabawal ng droga, you do not condemn him or her.
Yeah.
You give him commit him to a rehabilitation
Yes.
program.
Yeah,
And let him or her get rehabilitated and put him or her back into the mainstream
on
of the
that
society.
score, I agree that it's a mental health issue. So if it's a mental health issue, substance abuse, let's not be ashamed to be found out so we can get
Admit,
treated. Di
Right.
tayo magmamarunong.
Anyway, Jun, any more, before I wrap this up?
Yeah, I think lobat ka na rin.
Yeah, okay.
So kailangan na mag-wrap
Hindi ako ang lobat. Yung phone ko. Anyways, again, talagang ang dami ko pang gustong itanong sa iyo. Ang daming issues na hihingan ka namin sa opinion, no? But again, wala na, parang isang oras, it's just like a few minutes, no? Again, thank you so much, Atty. Vic. At again, thank you so much to the people of Dumaguete, yung hakbang ng maisog
And to our listeners.
and to our listeners, and to you viewers. Atty. Senator Vic Rodriguez, your message to the Filipino people.
Maraming salamat ang aking ulit-ulit na mensahe. Samahan po ninyo ako dito sa ating war on corruption na ating pinapangunahan bilang tinig ng tunay na oposisyon. At alam ko naman yung daming problema ng ating bansa. Subalit all we need ay magsama-sama tayo, magkaisa tayo. Labanan natin itong korupsyon na siya naman talaga punot-dulo ng kahirapan ng ating bansa at ng napakaraming Pilipino. Dahil naniniwala ako, pag tayo po'y nagsama-sama, posible ang pagbabago.
On that note, Atty. Vic, this has been E.B. Hugalpot with June Abines, my Bisdak edition. Atty. Irene Tamales. Mahirap mahalin daw ang Pilipinas. Pero ngayon, let's not give up on the Filipino. Again, marami pong salamat at mahalin ang inyong sarili, mahalin niyo po ang inyong pamilya, lalo na po ang inyong mahal na bayang Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at mabuhay po kayong lahat. Atty. Vic, salamat. Thank you so much again.
Sir, Dumaguete, sana meron pang ibang lugar.
Of course.
Yes.